In this video, the exterior is done. We unload hundreds of drywall sheets. Finish the mechanical room. I finally install all the plumbing fixtures and the craziest tunnel fireplace. After years building my own off-grid home, the outside is finally complete. But before I could enjoy it, there was a lot of heavy lifting and some very precise installs. There is always a reason behind the order that we follow in the build. The goal during this month was to leave everything ready so we could start insulating and cladding the interior of the house. For that I needed to install the last piece of the exterior lights, since I need to fit cables to each of them that need to go inside the walls. I presented the light fixtures on the wall with just some tape and marked the location that I liked the most and drilled the holes. Then, once the bracket of the fixture was installed, I fit the cables using this cable guide. The main two lights were installed. I just left the cables waiting for the actual fixture. And now I move to the lights on the exterior passage of the house. Deciding how to lit this passage was a hard task. We came up with several ways to do it, but we always ended up coming back to the most minimal one, by having just small circular signage lights that will lit just the floor, similar to the lights that you can see on exterior stairs, and also adding a main light on the side of the laundry's door. There will be 4 circular lights, so I made sure to space them with a good looking proportion. I did that in the computer, and then here in real life I ended up needing to make some adjustments to fit the structure pattern that is behind the walls. Basically, the process is to drill a big hole on the wall, which by the way was extremely hard to drill. I thought it was going to be much easier than what it actually was. Then I insert and glue these plastic cylinders that are made to hold these specific lights. I use MS glue just to seal the cylinder against the wall and make sure that it was all watertight. After installing the 4 lights in the corridor, I went to the south side of the house, where we have the main opening of the facade that is facing the living room, and also installed another light on this wall. This way of illuminating the passage is not about filling everything with light, but to lit it well enough that you can get to the doors comfortably and use the passage at night while keeping it elegantly lit. I know I could just blast a few lights to the walls and would lit the space much brighter, but brighter is not always better. These lights will be controlled by hand and also by an automatic timer that will turn on the lights at sunset and turn it off at sunrise. Alright, with all the lights installed and all the wires of the house finished, I was able to start cladding the interior of the house. I think I got the flu, but regardless of that, I'm gonna try to finish this today. As you can see, I was very sick that week, and I insulated the room without filming myself, and now I started installing a layer of OSB. You might be thinking, why on earth is he now installing wood on the inside of the house? It will be only in this room, which is the mechanical room. I plan on installing very heavy loads hanging from the wall, so I decided to install a layer of OSB before installing the drywall, so I have a very sturdy wall to hang all the equipment. I even got to use a new tool, a wood planer, which is actually the first time I used it in my life, because there was a pipe that was sticking out a few millimeters and I needed to shave some wood to leave enough room for it.
O sea, literalmente. No, a ver, no,
This is how it looked after cladding all that room in OSB. I made sure to leave all the cables ready for the next phase. Next day, the delivery of all the drywall of the house arrived. We were able to hire a crane to offload it inside the property close to the house and make sure to cover the glass of the house so we don't break it again. The crane was very big and very close to the house, and it was a stressful delivery. But with all the boards on the ground, it was time to take them inside the house one by one. Around 170 boards, some of them the same weight that Eugenia has. These blue boards are special drywall that are extra hard, fire resistant, acoustic, humidity proofed, and impact resistant. They are much better than normal drywall, the white one, but they are also much expensive and much heavier than the normal ones, around 42-45 kilograms each. And unfortunately for our bodies, we decided to use it for the whole house. That means that we are going to be using it for all the walls and all the ceilings. So we had a lot of boards and a full day of carrying material. I want to build a house like you guys. You guys are living my dream. That was actually a very tough day, almost 8 hours straight moving boards, because it was going to rain at night and we didn't want to leave the boards outside. We even had tickets for a concert in Lisbon, you know, trying to be romantic and have a night date with Eugenia, but we could not make it in the end as we had to finish moving the boards. But the bright side was that we had all the material ready for the next phases, all the sheets and all the drywall profiles. Next day, still sore from the day before, I decided to continue cladding the mechanical room, to continue with the first layer that I did in OSB, and now using regular drywall, the white one, to finish the whole room. To cut the boards, I just simply use my X-Acto knife, bend it, and then cut it with a knife to finish it off. I used the laser to make sure that all the boards were perfectly vertical and screw the boards in place. The wall that I just finished cladding will be shared with the living room area, and since the mechanical room and the laundry will have machine runnings pretty much every day, and in the mechanical room pretty much 24 hours, I was a bit concerned of the noise. Simply put, I did not want to hear any machine when I'm lying taking a nap on my couch in the living room. So for that we use this black layer. It is an acoustic layer, a very heavy one that we could barely lift. It is self-adhesive and goes between the two drywall layers of the wall and gives the wall very good noise isolation properties. It was around this time where, after speaking to Jenny, I decided I was going to move my focus 100% on the build. As you guys know, I have been running for the past 2 years, giving that sport a good chunk of my energy, pretty much leaving me without energy for the whole day. You know, I was running early in the morning, maybe like 10 to 15 kilometers, and then by the time that I get to the building site I was drained. But moving into the house has become a priority now, so I decided to give all my time to the build until we finish it. So after this day I started coming to the house very early, around 6:30, still dark, and work until the end of the day after day, until we move in. I have finished in the mechanical room. All the drywall is installed now. I have stopped here because there will be a wall closing this room like so. I didn't have more insulation, so I couldn't insulate the whole thing. My goal now is to actually finish the mechanical room so I can start working on plumbing. That's why I started doing this room first. It's a very good looking built-in part. This is where the control is, and this is where the faucet sticks out, and it has to be embedded in the wall. You can put it like this or like that, just making sure that you respect that this one is for hot water and this connection is for the cold water. But the main thing that you need to take care of is that the wall, the finish of the wall has to be in between these two lines. You can see there is a minimum mark line and a maximum. So that's what I'm trying to figure out now. Since I am building this wall out 4 centimeters plus 2 drywalls, 2.6 and 6.2. Part needs to be somewhere here in terms of depth, and then in height I'm gonna put exactly how they recommend. That is 105, I think, from the floor. Installing this black foam underneath the profile is something that you're supposed to do to protect the steel. This wall is where the powder room is, and since the wall hang toilet frame is sticking out 4 centimeters off the wall, I decided that I was going to frame the whole wall out, so it is all one plane. And that is what I'm doing here, framing the wall. And for some connections I use this special drywall tool to connect the profiles without the screws, and also ended up using screws. Alright, so I just installed two angles, as you can see here, right where I need to place the SIA design built-in plate. Beautiful, man. Before screwing the SIA design built-in part, I double checked that it was horizontal and that it was 105 centimeters from the floor. And after a couple of hours, I had built out the wall around the toilet frame and also the wall that separates the powder room from the laundry room. And I also installed this other SIA built-in part for the towel warmer. As our channels grow, we have to keep investing in better and more solid computer equipment. In this case, I finally pulled the trigger and got myself a NAS for our office. This Ugreen NAS, the DH4300 Plus, which is basically a new data storage that solves all your data issues. It works like a cloud storage, so you can access your files from anywhere, but my files are actually stored locally and safely in my own hard drives. Even as a beginner, you can set up and use the NAS easily. I ordered mine with 4 hard drives of 4 terabytes each, and I just had to install the drives on each tray and then slide them into the enclosure. It has a storage space of up to 120 terabytes, which is so much storage. Upon the first startup, you can just simply follow the step-by-step system guide to set up the device and start using it right away. And you can even log in using the NFC of your phone. For me, a high uploading speed is a must, and this NAS is incredibly fast, much faster than my Google Drive. You can see here I'm uploading the same 2 GB file to my Google Drive and to the NAS, and the NAS uploads the file much faster. And unlike cloud storage that you have recurring fees every month, the Ugreen NAS enclosure requires only one-time purchase for a long-term use. With the Ugreen NAS, you can classify albums effortlessly. It has a built-in AI smart recognition and classification function, and it can intelligently identify and classify albums of people, places, animals, etc. You and your team and family can access the NAS anywhere, anytime that you want, as it supports the access from the web, iOS, Android, and even your TV if you want to use it as a media center. And it has a built-in security manager which supports real-time virus scanning and flexible permission management. If you are in need of storage space, want to access it from anywhere, keep it secure, and don't want to spend so much money every month on cloud storage, check the link in the description and use the code to get 20% off. As I move into installing all the plumbing built-in parts in the house, I had to first face a task that I really did not want to do, to move another 180 kilograms fireplace and set it in place. I used the same chain hoist that I showed you guys in the last episode, which at the beginning felt like a lot of money to spend on a tool just for lifting, but it had ended up proving to be a very good purchase. Being able to move this crazy heavy object alone and securely is worth much more than what the tool costed. This fireplace goes in between the master bedroom and the master bathroom, and it is a tunnel fireplace, which means that it has glass on both sides, so we can see from one room to the other. As you're about to see in this episode, me leaving running and putting all 100% of my time into the build meant that I transformed into the Duracell bunny. Right after finishing a task, I will jump onto the next one, using all my hardly gained fitness into the build. Proved to be a real game changer. I don't know how much that fitness is going to last, but the build was moving very fast. Here I started taping all the drywall joints and filling all the holes. This is a job that I have never done in my life and found it entertaining to do, although it can become messy really quickly. Install here a paper tape, which is this type of tape, but it was the second time that I do this, and the first time went a little bit better. You know, not very confident that this is properly done. So I also bought this fiberglass mesh. It's self-adhesive, so you just put it on and then apply the putty, and that's what I'm gonna do now. Just, you know, I'm gonna test it out. This looks, I think, much better, but you know, I know nothing about this, so. The mesh tape ended up being much easier to work with and got me a much better finish. I just tape it securely against the joint and fill it with putty. Alright, I have decided to go with the fiberglass one. Seems much easier to do and looks much better, man. I don't know if it's actually better in the end or not, but I guess it should be fine. I already finished installing all the plumbing built-in parts in the other bathroom, but I didn't film myself, I'm sorry, because I wanted to film this bathroom. The reason is because in this bathroom we will have all the built-in parts that are used in the house. This is the shower one. This is a built-in part for the shower head. It will go attached to the ceiling, and here at the bottom we will screw the actual shower head. Well, it will be an extension, like a rod, and then the shower head. And as you can see, it has the minimum and maximum depth that you need to install it, so your finished ceiling needs to be somewhere in between these two lines. And then we're gonna have a bathtub in this area. It will have a spout to the bathtub here, and this one will be a handheld shower, cold water and hot water for the spout that goes to the bathtub, and then cold water and hot water for the handheld shower head that you know, so you can be filling the bathtub and also showering inside the bathtub. And this one will go somewhere here. I don't know exactly where I need to do the math, but somewhere here. This is the built-in part of the towel warmer. The electrical connection goes at the back or here on the side, or if you put it like this, it will be on the side. If you put it like this, it will be on top. If you put it like this, it will be at the bottom. And also it has a mark where minimum and maximum that your wall needs to be at, your finished wall. And we will have 5 of these in this wall, so it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there are bars that go like this. Very excited for this fixture. It's gonna look fantastic. The last thing that we have, a double sink. So we need double faucet. This is for the spout that goes through the wall, and this is the control. And that's it. A lot of built-in parts to install. So I'm gonna start for the first one and go slowly and steady. And I'm gonna call Eugenia because I right now don't know where to install. Alright, I brought Eugenia to decide where the bathtub is going to be, because we are not installing the bathtub now, but we would like the faucet to be right in the middle. So it depends where the bathtub is where I need to install this. We haven't chosen the bathtub yet, but all the ones that we like are 170 by 70. So first, let's mark 70. No? No, I thought it was going to be bigger. You need to remember that it's not the square, so it's rounded. Maru, that's too close, man.
No, pero ¿dónde es el centro?
Porque si la bañera hace así,
Ya se va a
queremos que el
notar.
pitorrito vaya. Alright, this is the next day. Yesterday I didn't get to do much more after speaking to Eugenia. And then we came back to the cabin and did some research on what bathtub we are actually choosing. We were in between 2 or 3 of them, and we picked one already because, we kind of need to know exactly what we're doing. And we have switched a little bit the layout of the bathroom. Before, the bathtub that pipe was going to be the center of the bathtub, and we were going to have the bathtub starting over here and having the towel warmers over there. But then today I came here and realized, hey, if I'm gonna take a shower, which is here, and I need to grab the towel, then I will need to come here, grab my warm towel, and then go have a shower, and I will need to put, the towel somewhere. So I will probably end up putting the towel in the bathtub and then taking a shower in here. When I go grab the towel from the bathtub, it's cold, so what's the point of doing that? It makes 0 sense. And the towel warmer is absolutely stunning. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna push the bathtub like half a meter to the right. We're gonna grab all the toilet warmers and we're gonna put them over here. And then if I go inside the bathtub, imagine that I go inside the bathtub. Now I'm naked, so you are seeing my private parts probably. And here I am in the bathtub, and if I look to the left, that's so nice. We have the best solution ever. Sometimes it takes some time until you realize what you want to do. This is actually the third layer, so I didn't film yesterday doing the third layer, and I think that's looking quite good already. I just needed to sand it one last time, and I believe that it will be done. I just finished, and this looks absolutely awesome, man. Like, I don't know if you can see on the camera or not, but it's 100% flat and smooth, the whole thing. I wasn't, betting on me, that's why I left this undone, because as I said, from that wall to there it's the mechanical room, and from that wall to the one that we built just a few minutes ago, well, in the video, in my reality it was a few days ago, this is the laundry. This line is gonna be exposed in the laundry room, and I didn't trust myself to actually do it by myself, because I thought it was going to be, it wasn't going to be good enough. It was going to be like a do-it-yourself. But no, it came out fantastic. And I think if I ever gonna do this again, I will actually buy the proper sander, which will do half the job. So I am very impressed with myself. I normally don't say this into the camera, but I am extremely impressed with what I have done today. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, so that's a surprise. I'm gonna mark where the actual wall is, and install a baseboard before I start painting, because I would like to install the baseboard and paint the baseboard at the same time that I paint the wall. For this room, we're gonna be using just a piece of wood as baseboard. I went to the store, and I didn't like the baseboards they have, because they're all MDF or like fake wood. So I just bought a piece of wood to use as a baseboard. For the house, we're gonna have a very, very, very high-end baseboard with a shadow line, like a shadow gap, from AGS Systems, which is an Italian brand that makes aluminum profiles for high-end projects. But I'm not gonna be using that for the mechanical room. I will show it to you once I start in the house. I continued by setting the laser so I could mark the end of the baseboard. Then I brought back my chop saw. It's been a while without using it, pretty much since the forms of the concrete that we built like a year ago. And this is the piece of wood I will be using as baseboard for the mechanical room. It's cheap, nice, and better than the fake wood ones. I just cut it to size and glue it to the wall with MS glue. And this is the job done, ready for paint. Before starting the paint job, I spent a couple of hours taping everything I did not want to paint. I am not the best at painting, so I rather spend a little bit more time in the prep job so I can just paint without worrying about painting things that I do not want. The first coat is going to be this drywall primer. It came very segregated, so I needed to use the drill mixer. After a couple of minutes mixing it, the paint recovered its milky texture and it was ready to go. I always start by painting all the perimeter and the complicated areas with a brush. And then move to the roller. Seeing this room getting white was a very good feeling. I mean, it was probably the first time that the build actually felt like a house. Feels like a house. Hey, forgot about this. Then I let it dry for 8 hours, and before applying the first coat of actual paint, I decided to hand sand the whole thing so I get rid of some of the dust and small particles that got stuck in the primer. After sanding, I cleaned the whole thing with a slightly wet rag, so I removed all the dust that I just created sanding, and applied the second coat, which was the first coat of actual paint. While the paint was drying, I decided to go back to the bathroom. Since we moved the location of the towel warmers, I now needed to move all the corrugated pipes that go to it and take them to the new location. It is one corrugated pipe per built-in part, so 5 in total, and each of them go inserted into the built-in part. Later on, once the wall is finished, I will just feed the cables from the bathroom connection box. And to finish off, I decided to put some love back to our very first house. Yes, that van was our house for almost 2 years. Before we started building everything that you have seen in this channel, we did not have a house or a property, so we decided to put pretty much all we had left into building this van, so we could always have a house no matter where we were. It was not a very welcome decision by the people around us, but I can gladly say from the future now that it was the decision that actually changed our lives. This house that you are seeing here in the back would not be built without this first house. Now, after almost 7 years, it is in need of some love. I am going to be installing this Fiamma fan, this Victron booster, and a lithium battery. Specifically, this Li-Time lithium battery. Over the span of these past 7 years, I have replaced already 2 AGM batteries in this van, because as you use them, they keep losing capacity until they don't hold any charge. And although AGM batteries are cheaper, they last much less than lithium ones. that can last more than 4,000 cycles. If I'm not mistaken, AGM batteries can last around 700 or 800. So in the long run, I found myself thinking, why did not I install a lithium one to begin with? But in my defense, prices of good lithium batteries, like the one I am installing right now, have gone down in the past couple of years. For example, this lithium battery costs just pretty much the same that I paid for my original AGM battery, and it is just a much superior product. You can discharge it more deeply, pretty much all the way to 100%, instead of the 50 to 60% of the AGMs. And it will last for many more years. It will hold more charge. It connects to my phone via Bluetooth, so I can monitor the charge. It is water resistant, and it's just much smaller and lighter. Alright, it's been a minute. I have already installed the battery. I needed to switch where the battery was because the holes of the battery were flipped. The other one had the positive on the left and this one has the positive on the right. So what I did, I just turned the battery, and I think I have a space for a second one. So maybe I purchase a second one and, you know, expand for double capacity. And now, by the way, I connected everything works. Wait, almost didn't. But yeah, it works. And now the battery is charging through the solar panels. But before I had an AGM battery that was connected to the alternator through the main box that we have in the camper van. It's a CBE one. The problem is that this one is not compatible for lithium batteries because lithium batteries need a booster in between the alternator and the battery in order to charge properly, and this is why I bought this Victron Orion TR Smart 12 volt 30 amps. It connects to the battery of the actual car, the one that is being charged by the alternator. I already have a cable going underneath the van since the beginning because I already had this cable. So that cable will go in the in, and then I will have a cable going out to the lithium batteries and a different cable going to ground. By the way, I'm reusing cables that I have from the house build. I'm sorry for the purists, but today is Sunday and I'm not planning to do this tomorrow, and I don't want to go to the store, so these ground cables are gonna be good enough for the positive and the ground. Anyways, alright, now the battery is changed. I have a lithium battery in my van, which is awesome to think. And also the alternator charges it, so if there is not enough sun, then I can turn the car on and charge it. And at the same time, when we drive around, imagine that we're driving from here to the coast to surf. By the time that we get to the surf spot, the battery will be completely charged, pretty much. So that's pretty good. And now another thing that we need to fix before we go in the surf trip, it's this little guy that costed me 48 euros. That's this plastic fan, because the original one broke. And with this last repair, we were now ready to go on a surf trip that we have been postponing for a while. Hope you guys enjoyed this last episode. I know I'm not posting very often, and I apologize for that. I wish I could be that type of channel that posts every week, but unfortunately, with all the work that we actually do behind the scenes, it is just not possible, man. But when I post, I try to bring an episode full of progress, like this one, that span over the course of 1 month worth of work.